Let me shift here, and I just want to talk a little bit about silence. Silence, my sisters and brothers, has many dimensions. There is a sacred silence, which is that silence out of which creative contemplation grows. It's a meditation on the word and the will of God. It's the silence out of which we meditate and get closer to God. It's the silence in which fervent prayer is born. There is a sacred silence. But then there's a seething silence that comes when you are quiet externally, but you've got a storm going on the inside. The late Dr. Howard Thurman called that a noisy quietness. But then finally, and here's the silence I want to get to, there is a sinful silence. And Adam's silence falls into this category because a sinful silence is a silence that comes over you when you ought to say something, but you don't say nothing at all. It is that silence that creeps in when you ought to speak up for God, but you sit there acting like you don't know what God said. My sisters and brothers, I fear that Adam was not only silent on that fateful day in the garden when a serpent showed up, but Adam has remained silent through the centuries. When Africans were captured and taken from their homeland, packed in the hulls of ships, sold on auction blocks, beat and killed and misused and kept in shadow slavery, Adam was silent. When Jews were persecuted, deported, and murdered by Nazis, Adam was silent. When Native Americans were slaughtered in the acts of genocide so their land could be taken from them, Adam was silent. When our ancestors were lynched and called boy and girl, even though they were full grown, when they were denied employment and equal access to resources, Adam was silent. And today, far too often, when our boys are shooting and killing each other on the streets, and our girls suffer from low self-esteem and give birth to children whose daddies won't stay around to take care of them, Adam is still silent. Sisters and brothers, there is a sinful silence among us when injustice is raging and we remain quiet. When people are aching, when people are hurting, when babies are crying and dying of hunger and not having enough love from insufficient care, and we remain silent, that is a sinful silence. When the church looks and sees what's going on in its communities, and not just in its communities, but what's going on right there in the household of faith, and we sit there and act like we don't know what's going on, that is a sinful silence. And let me suggest that there's a time when silence is sinful. And here in the text, we see a snake talking to Adam's wife. Adam remains silent. Adam should have said something. My sisters and brothers, the nation is waiting for somebody to say something. Go on, touch your neighbor and tell him you ought to say something. You see them boys on the corner, you ought to say something. You see what's happening with those sisters. I'm not talking about Pookie and Ray Ray and them. I'm talking about the saints' children. Y'all ain't gonna help me in here today. You ought to say something. The classroom is waiting for somebody to say something. Youth violence is waiting for somebody to say something. Every community, every city, every town, every home, every boy, every girl, every family is waiting for the church to break the silence. And if we don't break the silence, let me tell you what's going to happen. If we don't break the silence, we end up embracing the appeals of the serpent. What are the appeals of the serpent? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. You've got a responsibility to go back to Lodabar. Your work's not done just because you made it to the palace. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. But you've got a responsibility to help somebody else make it across. Thank you, Jesus. Don't pull up the ladder because you climbed to the top. Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way across. Thank you, Jesus. But reach your hand back down the ladder and pull somebody else up out of Lodabar. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. That's the name of the Lord. Somebody got to tell themselves it's all right if you got it now. Just hold it for me. I'll be there to get it after a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me. I might not have it right now. May not get it next week. You might try to stop me from getting it. But if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. It is 3 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the spoken word. And I want to thank Mr. Kenneth Barnett for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with the promise. You can hear the promise every Monday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music. Good way to start out your Monday morning, a great way to start out your week. And it's been a busy week for me. We had our Holy Convocation. We had our Hope Fest. We had the NAACP Freedom Fund Symposium. I had the dedication, christening of my youngest granddaughter yesterday. So it's been a busy season, busy time. But I'm grateful and thankful for all that has been done and said. A lot of things happening out here in the world. Coming up at the 10 o'clock hour, First Lady will be on. Justice and Flow hour will be on. She'll be letting me know exactly what's happening at that hour. We've been having on candidates for political office here locally. All politics are local. We can talk about all of the national politics until we're blue in the face. we've got to deal with local politics, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, listen, today my subject is real simple. Black people are tired. That's it. You know, tired as hell. They are tired of America. Okay, and we're going to talk about that after the short break. Tell a friend, tell somebody. Bishop is on the air. If you're listening over WTCC, call somebody, text them, let them know, turn to 90.7, that the Bishop is on the air right now. If you're on social media, I need you to share. I need you to like. I need you to subscribe. I need you to do all that stuff. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Okay, I need to know where you're coming in from. What part of these divided states of America, or what part of the world you are chiming in from, listening on the World Wide Web. So interesting to always know where our people are coming in from. We'll definitely shout out some of your cities and some of your towns as you check in. All right. Okay, so let's take a short music break, spoken word break, and we'll be back on the other side of that. Don't y'all go nowhere, all right? You should be sharing, liking, and repping your city and repping your town. Calling somebody, tell them the Bishop is on the air, all that good stuff. We'll be right back.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from and hit, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down there. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love, I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
For all the brothers that passed, but more particularly one because it affected me drastically. I remember my sister gave me the call and I was in awe. Matter of fact, it felt the farthest from reality. She seen somebody post RIP with his name and I said I doubt it's the same friend I had since the 7th grade. She said I'ma call his sister and double check, and called me back, said he hanged himself in his room and had been there for days. Initially it didn't hit me, then it clicked, and I remembered that I hadn't seen or heard from homie all week. Wish she had told me what had him feeling lonely and weak. I guess everybody got demons we don't even speak of, cause I was with him exactly a week before the call. Just under 20, he couldn't even purchase alcohol. My best friend for like 6 or 7 years. I'm not ashamed to say I shedded plenty tears, but it was hard. He was somebody I had plenty memories with. The first person I ever burned any trees with. The worst feeling is knowing that you would leave us in all this grievance without a reason. One of the first people to ever believe in me. When it came down to it, you knew you could call me if you needed me. Cause that information I wouldn't have ever imagined. It's sad thinking about it. I ain't happy that it happened, but it made me. There was plenty times when I thought that it would drive me crazy. But looking back on it, now I see all the drive that it gave me. I learn more about why I am who I am on the daily. I know it may sound crazy, but I'm glad that it made me. Yeah, was born the son of a pastor, he was who I was named after. Matter of fact, I even got some of his characteristics. Both of us got messages for the people. I just do mine with rhythm on beat, he do his on the pulpit with scriptures. Well connected, respected in the community. Ever since I was little, I felt like there was some pressure on me. It started off with little stuff like when brought us to church and then they forced us to get up and say a testimony. Getting older, had to watch how I acted in public, cause people wouldn't hesitate to put that in discussion. Chatting like, is it that the pastor's kid? I'm like, yeah, that's me, but please don't expect me to be exactly like my daddy. Don't discredit my family for how I am. I'm not a little kid no more, I'm now a man. And I ain't pointing fingers, I'm not trying to do no blaming at all. When it comes to how I came up, I wouldn't change it at all, because it made me. There was plenty times when I thought that it would drive me crazy, but looking back on it, now I see all the drive that it gave me. I learned more about why I am who I am
on a daily. May sound crazy, but I'm glad that it made me. Yeah, y'all need to go check out T Swan, my son. Get his music. Shout out to all of my seed, my September seed. My grandbaby Maya had a birthday on September 11th. That was followed up by my son Talbert III. That was him, who you just heard some of his music, T Swan. And then on the 18th, my oldest child, my daughter Whitney, had a birthday. Also, my Uncle Ben, former state representative Ben Swan, celebrated on the same day as my daughter Whitney on the 18th of September. 88th birthday for Uncle Ben. Happy birthday, Uncle Ben. Happy birthday, Whitney. Happy birthday, Talbert. Happy birthday, Maya. Happy birthday to all of you September babies that are out there. All right. 413, let me get the number up for those on social media. Let me announce it for those who aren't on social media and on the radio. 413-337-1867. 413-337-1867. Also, I'm live in the Twitter Spaces, so you can jump in there. I got a couple of people who are already trying to get up on the Twitter Spaces. Also, I'm live in a Facebook audio room as well. That's new to me, but I'm trying all the ways to communicate. I got you YouTube, I got you Twitter, I got you Facebook, I got you Periscope, I got you Instagram. Good morning, Brother Keyshawn. Good morning, my big cuz, Ivory, all the way from Wisconsin. Good morning, Auntie Marion, whose birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Aunt Marion. I see you, Judy. I see you, good brother LeVar Click, Evangelist Stephanie Johnson, Jules Howard, all the way from Maryland, is in the house. The Bishop William E. McMillan from Maryland is in here. Brother Mike Martin, good morning. Juanita, my sister in love, Lavonda Mason Vestal, all the way from Dallas, Texas. And I don't want to hear nothing about them Cowboys either. All right, nothing at all. So good morning to all of you. Good morning to my Instagram audience. Good morning, everybody in the Twitter space. Black people are tired. I'm going to bring up some of my Twitter spacers. Those of you in other places, you can definitely call in 413-337-1867. And those, I see them jumping into the Facebook audio room. So, yeah, we're there too. Listen, I'm a black man. I'm tired. So are most black folks I know. And it ain't our fault, because we have no control over most of the things that make and keep us tired and frustrated. To be black in America, in this world, and in touch with yourself is to understand how little control we actually have over our situations, even our own bodies. The late, great James Baldwin said to be conscious, to be black and conscious in America is to be in a constant state of rage. A constant state of rage. And of course, you'd be in a constant state of rage if you felt like you had no control over your destiny, over your family, over your own bodies. We're tired of things not changing in this country. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Every time we take 2 steps up, America forces us 3 steps back. You know, they wanted us to think because a black president got elected, we were in a post-racial America. And what has happened since that black man was elected president? The Black Lives Matter movement rose up because of the rampant lynching, extrajudicial murder of black people without anyone being held accountable for it. What happened since that time that he was elected? The Supreme Court of America gutted the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And today, conservatives all over America, in every state in America, are pushing laws to suppress and stop us from voting. See, every time there is black progress, there is white backlash. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. So don't talk to me about post-racial, ain't no racism anymore. There's no systemic racism. There are some social scientists and others who will claim that things are perhaps worse now than they've been since the civil rights era, since the Jim Crow era in America. Let me pause again and say a happy Founders Day to my brown and gold brothers of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Yes, 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 yes. Founders Day was yesterday, and I'm still repping the colors today. Gotta do that. So yeah, man. Don't try to tell me about some post-racial utopia. We're collectively tired of being overlooked, put last, asked to work for the benefit of others with no tangible benefits for ourselves. After black folk put these Democrats in office, gave them control of the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. And immediately, they gave benefits to the LGBTQ community. They gave benefits to the immigrant community. They gave benefits to the Asian and Pacific Islander community. But they can't seem to give black folks anything but symbolism. Juneteenth and wearing kente cloth. I mean, wait a minute. And there's legislation pending now for hip hop recognition. So while Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders who had a grand total of 274 hate crimes against them last year, Black folk had more than 10 times the number of hate crimes perpetuated against them in the same year. But the Asian American and Pacific Islander American community got a $5 billion anti-Asian hate crimes law passed by the Democrats. And even though hate crimes against black folks were 10 times higher, we got Juneteenth, which we were already celebrating. We're tired of being overlooked. We're tired of being put last. We're tired of working for the benefits of everybody else. And you know we do it. You know we do it. Black folks were the ones out there carrying signs saying stop Asian hate. It was black folk, all right, who were out there pushing for laws that would benefit DACA and others. It's always black folk who are always out here fighting for everybody else. And then amazingly, some of those same brown communities that we fight for sit idly by when it comes to reciprocating and fighting for the concerns and the issues of black people. There is no black-brown coalition in America. Let's just keep it a buck. Matter of fact, let's be real. There's a lot of anti-black hatred in brown communities, in Latino communities, in Asian communities, in Native American communities, in Indian communities. That's just the reality. And we have to really search and see, do we really have any allies? I did a show last week that said we have no allies. Where are our allies? And I'm not saying that applies to every single individual, but I'm talking about as a group, as a coalition, as a collaboration. You know, we out here fighting on our own. And we're tired of being put last. Tired of being asked to work for the benefit of everybody else. Let me bring up Blackness Divinity and see if I can get him in the Twitter space.
Ow, Fred.
Hey, Fred, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. My name is Keith Sean.
Yes, sir.
I'm from Savannah, Georgia.
Good to have you.
And so,
Happy Founders Day. Happy belated Founders Day.
Likewise. I've been actually listening to you for a couple of weeks, couple of months, really, on and off. And I like what you have to say because there's some of the thoughts you've expressed on the radio and on the space are some of the same thoughts and feelings that I've had over the past 18 months, really since the pandemic began, really since before this began. Basically, at what point does the rule of law here in America becomes invalid? At what point do everyone just stop? You know, at what point does, I guess, America fall? I don't know. Because things with everything going on, with the diminishing strategic power of the U.S. internationally, and then with everything going to straight, you know, everything going to trash domestically, you know, how much longer does the U.S. have?
Yeah.
At this point, I just live here. And honestly, thinking back on what you said, there's no real allies. There are no true allies.
You know, the reality is if you're a student of history, you will find that every alleged superpower that was deemed to never be able to be defeated and fall, every time the preponderance of their evil outweighed their good to a certain extent, God moved on that nation. They thought ancient Babylon would never fall. They thought ancient Rome would never fall. They thought the former Soviet Union would never fall. And all of those nations and kingdoms fell and faltered. And America has been around. This is what people in the West have a very poor sense of history. America has been around as a nation for less than 400 years. You know, so in the great scheme of history, it's still a baby nation. And to think that it can never fail or fall is a grave mistake. And it's something that we may not see in our lifetime, but our children or our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren may see it, which is why we're trying to steer this boat in the right direction to avoid such a calamity. And I think you're right. You know, Dr. King, they're fond of quoting Dr. King, but Dr. King said that any law that is an unjust law, that we are not obligated to obey that law. And so, you know, I don't care what laws they're putting on the books and what laws they're passing and all of that. If they are unjust laws, we have no moral obligation to follow them or to obey them.
And I understand that. The thing is, you know, I believe this with all my soul. We Black people, we peeped game a long time ago. This is nothing new to us. The difference is, I feel like we're kind of scared. We're scared, collectively speaking. You think about it. Every type of resistance we've ever put up through the Civil War, Reconstruction, what happened? Everything was burnt down. And what we do in response? We march, have a couple rallies, give a couple speeches, maybe pull off some form of economic boycott. Maybe, if we're lucky, we get to rebuild. And then what happens? It all gets burned down again.
Yeah, because black folks have been, we take our religion literally. We believe in forgiveness. We're always announcing forgiveness of white supremacists 2 weeks after they murder our mamas. And we believe in nonviolence, but I believe that there's a new generation that is raising up that is saying, you know what, we're not turning the other cheeks. You know, we're not down with this nonviolent turn the other cheek, forgive the man mentality, because the only language that they really understand is to fight fire with fire. And that's the warning to America, that this isn't grandma's civil rights movement, that the passive resistance that you may have gotten in the past may not be what you see in the future.
That's true. I can only hope for the best. If I have some time, I want to shed some light on what's happening in Savannah, because not a lot of people know about it. There was an event in 1859 called the Weeping Time. It is the largest American slave sale, the largest slave sale in American history. It happened right here in Savannah, and right now the city of Savannah, they sold that land, which was in West Savannah, the historically black poor area of Savannah, and they gave the land to the Salvation Army to build a homeless shelter, versus another alternative, which was, you know, building a legit community center, community gardens, actually to help revitalize the area. That would have been planned by the community, the members of that community from West Savannah. Anyway, since Savannah said no, they gave it to the Salvation Army, and right now there are community leaders, community historians, young people, old people, and a coalition of sorts to basically stop the Salvation Army and to build in that homeless shelter and to really save that land for historical purposes. The city of Savannah has a history of whitewashing and slave past. And I just want to shed light to that real quick. I don't want to hold up too much more time, because I know there's a lot of people wanting to talk. And I want to thank you for the platform to speak on it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Frat. You take care of yourself.
You too. Ow, ow.
Ow, ow. All right, 413-337-1867. If you're in the Twitter space, you just simply put up a request and we'll do what we can to get you on the air. Now, what my brother was talking about as happening in Savannah, that has happened throughout history. For those of you who are from New York, if you've ever gone jogging or been to an event or been in Central Park, you do realize that in Manhattan, there was a thriving Black community and land owned by Black people that was taken from them to build Central Park. Y'all realize Central Park is built on land stolen from Black people. So, I mean, what's happening in Savannah is just a repetition of what has happened throughout the history of America. 413-337-1867. So, you know, once again, we're tired of working for the benefit of others and no tangible benefits for ourselves, and being willfully neglected nationally, locally, you know, at the state level. We're tired of being blamed for things that aren't our fault. In fact, in Texas, the lieutenant governor of Texas blamed the spread of COVID-19 on Black people. You know, I mean, they always want to put things on us that affect them, and then the dirt that they do to us, they want to blame that on us too. Larry Elder, I don't know if you all saw the video, and I know it was an older video, but it was uncovered because he was trying to run her in California. But when Trayvon Martin was murdered, he defended George Zimmerman. Then he blamed Black people for racial profiling. He said it's because of the minority thugs. That's the reason we got profiling. That's what this handkerchief head Negro said. The reason we have racial profiling in America is because Black people committing crime. Well, what the hell crime were Africans committing in America when they were stolen from their land and brought here? What crime was they committing in America that caused that level of racial profiling to the tune of 12.5 million Africans being enslaved, Larry? And this same coon had the nerve to say, if you're going to pay reparations, you need to pay reparations to the descendants of slave owners. Yeah, he said that. He said that. You need to pay it to the descendants of slave owners, because guess what? Because you took their property. Their property. You know, human beings, our ancestors, you know, your great grandmama, them. Yeah, he called them white folks' property, and that white folks ought to be given reparations because they had their property taken. Oh, 413-337-1867. You know, you can't make this stuff up. You really cannot make this stuff up. Let me bring on Roxos. I hope I got the name right. If I don't, they'll correct me. Up in the Twitter space. You're on the air.
Hello.
Yes, you're on.
Good morning, Bishop. My name is Abdullah. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
All right.
And I just wanted to ask you, like, I hear a lot of Black people here on Twitter complaining about the situation they're in, but I don't hear a lot of solutions. Do you think we can work out these problems in the framework of the Constitution of America, or do you think we have to burn the entire country down?
So first of all, America is working the way America was designed to work. America,
that's exactly what I mean. Like, it's designed to oppress black people, so
wait a
we
minute,
can't really hold it against them.
wait, hold on.
We need to
America,
have a new country.
wait a minute. America was designed to work in the benefit of wealthy white male landowners. It was never meant to work for black people. The reason you had to have a 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment to the Constitution, the reason you had to have a Civil Rights Act of 1964 and a Voting Rights Act of 1965 and all of that was because America was never designed to benefit black people. When the framers of the Constitution said we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, they didn't mean us. They didn't mean us. Now, when you say solutions, let me suggest this to you, because this is often a criticism that black people get is black people are told that, you know, y'all are highlighting the problems, but you don't come up with solutions. Let me suggest to you, it's not up to black people to solve a problem we didn't start. Now, granted, we're affected by the problem, and we should fight against the effects of that problem. But racism in America, white supremacy in America, injustice in America is not a black problem. It's a problem that affects black people, but it's a white people problem. And it's kind of like if I sit here and repetitiously smack you around and then ask you, how you gonna solve this problem? I mean, how ironic is that? That I'm the cause of the problem, I'm perpetuating the problem, but I'm asking the person that I'm victimizing how they're gonna solve the problem of their own victimization. And I'm tired of people asking black people to solve a problem we didn't start in the first place. 413-337-1867. Drea, let me bring Drea up. Drea, you're popping in the Twitter space. The rest of you that are on radio listening, you can call in at 413-337-1867. Hello, Drea.
Yeah, hi. I was going to say something else until the last speaker said what he said. I think it's very easy for white people to say we should find solutions when the solution actually lies with them. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you was talking about Central Park, but they also did that with the rest of New York City anyway, because they called it, was it gentrification?
Yes.
And everybody got priced out, myself included. Education-wise, they make, I think, overwhelmingly more black people, or maybe people of color, have more debt than white people because we didn't have generational wealth. Myself, I had to leave the country in order to become a registered nurse. So it's just really deep, because it is tiring, but it's not just tiring for being in America, because I'm in England right now and I'm tired here too.
Yeah.
Because anywhere you seem to go, if you are black, there is a certain level of oppression that you just cannot seem to avoid.
It affects the diaspora.
To be honest.
It affects the diaspora no matter what part of the world that we're in. I know we talk a lot about it here in America specifically because of our plight as African Americans in this nation. But we're definitely cognizant of the fact that blackness has a negative impact on you just about anywhere in the world.
Exactly. I'm going to throw something out. In England, right now where I am, if I hear on the news that somebody was detained by the police and they have died, they were taken to the hospital where they died, I know for a fact that they're usually a black male, and they usually have died by positional asphyxiation, which means that someone sat on them, choked them, or whatever, and that they may have had some kind of mental health issue or not. And the fact that I know this without even knowing the ins and outs and the details tells you that black people are just vulnerable.
Absolutely.
No matter where they are.
Absolutely. And it's the same thing here. When we hear the news without even seeing the faces, 9 times out of 10, we know who they are. Same thing as when we hear that so-and-so went into the mall and shot the place up and all that. 9 times out of 10, we know it's a crazy white dude. That's just the reality in this nation, and I'm sure where we live as well. Appreciate you chiming in today. Thank you. 413-337-867. If you want to get in on the Twitter space, hit me up with a request. If you want to get in on the line, give us a call, and we'll definitely get you on the air. And I see you all having a lively discussion over social media. Here it is, family. Here it is. Let me get this call on the air. Good morning, caller. Hold on 1 sec. Let me get you where I can hear. All right, go ahead.
Anyway, Mr. Swan, you still there?
I'm here. Go ahead.
Like all the Haitian brothers, like on the border, I was thinking to myself, how they get from like Haiti to Mexico to Texas, whatever, and Biden wants to send them back on the first flight, first class back to Haiti. I'm like, what's going on, man? These people coming here for something. I was like, man, they must have swam across the Gulf of Mexico or something. I was praying. Hello?
Yeah. I'm listening.
Yeah. Anyway, blessed day, brother Swan, and I was thinking about that. Because it bothered my spirit. I was like, man, 14,000 people just chilling underneath this bridge and stuff. Like, how they get here? How they get from Haiti to Mexico to Texas? How is that possible? And they want to like a flight or something, man. All right,
all right.
Have a blessed day.
I don't know if they took a flight or something like that. Let me get another call in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Bishop Swan.
Yeah.
Good morning. I think you raised good points. I mean, there's issues facing all of us now. The country is made up of individuals. It's not like groups, right? I mean, our rights in this country are individual rights. You kind of make this country what you make of it. And I mean, your family is very successful, and that's great. Is that correct? Your black family and your whole family is a successful family. Right?
Here's the thing. It's easy for a white man to say, you make out of this country what you want, when you live in a country that was designed to benefit and to privilege you, and who has never disenfranchised you or dehumanized you on the basis of who you are. It's easy to say that from your vantage point. Now, for those, for black people who have been successful, it's not that they've been successful because America has been created and designed for their success. They become successful in spite of the obstacles that are stacked against them. That speaks to the resiliency of black people in the face of systemic racism. And that goes to your first point. Yeah, we're a nation where individuals live, but it's not made up of individuals. It's made up of systems that are designed in a certain way. And systemic racism exists, and systemic racism is designed to privilege and benefit some and dehumanize and disenfranchise others. And to simply dismiss the reality of systemic racism is living in an alternate reality.
No, I'm not dismissing it. What I'm saying is, I mean, I can't help how I was born, a white male.
You can.
People, I can't.
But the only thing I'm asking is not to apologize for how you were born, or even apologize for the way America was designed, but to recognize it and don't assume that everyone else has the same shared experience as you. No,
I don't assume that. I want to make one more point. You know, there's a lot of, you know, I look around in my community. There are a lot of poor white people.
Yeah, right. Now let me.
That live in mobile homes and are very poor. Now, are they poor because they had privilege, but they made really bad decisions in their life?
Let me give you the short.
There's a broad range of why, and why are so many successful? Why are there so many successful black people?
Okay,
because there are a lot of black people.
So let's not try to conflate the numbers, because the stats don't bear out what you're saying. Now, if you just want to talk in sheer numbers, yeah, you can name a bunch of successful black people. But when you juxtapose that against the real statistics, the reality is there are far more black people who live in poverty than people in the majority community. And even successful black people, okay, even black folks who have been educated, who are entrepreneurs, who work certain jobs, still get the short end of the stick. You have a black man with a 4-year college degree on average makes less money than a white man with a high school diploma. That's reality. Now, you would look at that black man and say, hey, look at him. He's successful, but he's making less money than your buddy Billy, who never stepped foot in college. That speaks to the privilege of white folk in America. So let me give you the short definition of white privilege. White privilege does not mean that white people will not be poor. It does not mean that they won't fail. It does not mean that they will never face hard times or be treated unfairly. It means that they won't be poor, they won't face hard times and be treated unfairly because they're white. That's the difference.
Right. And it has to be an Asian privilege, right? Because Asians make more money per capita than white people do. So what are Asian people doing right and everybody else doing wrong?
Dude, come on. First of all, no. You're conflating again. First of all, per capita, there are nowhere near as many Asian people that are in America. So when you look at Asian population in total, and you say, well, the preponderance of Asian people are successful. So if there are 10 Asian people and 8 of them are making 6 figures, yeah, you can say 80% of Asian folks are successful. But when you look at the total number of Asian people that are here in America, it nowhere comes close to the level of success that white folks have achieved. So this whole thing about Asians being the model minority is bullwhack. And because the other thing is this. Wait. Hold it. Because let me ask you the question. When the hell were Asian people ever enslaved? When the hell were Asian people ever brutalized, dehumanized, ostracized? When were they ever No. Hold it. When were they raped? When were they lynched? When were they held in chattel slavery for 246 years? When did Asian people ever get restricted from voting? When were their communities ever redlined? When did Asian folk ever go through the type of hell black folk have gone through in this nation? Never. And don't tell me about the 246 measly hate crimes against Asians last year, when hate crimes against black folks were more than 10 times that. So it's disingenuous to look at the experience of a community that has never gone through what black folk have gone through and to raise them up as the standard bearers of why aren't black people successful like the Asian folk are. Stop it. Cut it out. 413-337-1867. Now, we're not going for that. We're not doing we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We are not doing that today. because y'all always try that nonsense. You know, Asian people are successful. How come these folks can come over to America and be successful and black folk can? When they don't have the record of oppression that black folk do and still do in this nation. It's an unfair comparison, you know, to try to make black folk think that they're. So what are you trying to tell us? We're lazy and shiftless, and we don't work as hard as Asian people. And if we worked as hard as Asian people, then we would be successful too. Is that what you telling me? Cut it out. Cut it out. We're tired of hearing that foolery. We're tired of hearing that level of foolery. Black folk are sick of being blamed for failures in politics and governance after we vote, when we're literally only given two options to choose from. The lesser of two evils, neither of which work for our interests. We're tired of hoping white folks will be better people. We're tired of y'all trying to compare us to communities that never faced the obstacles that we face. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull up the Irish and the Italian and tell me how these white folks came over here and were successful. How come black folks can't be? No, we ain't going for that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how it's happening. The bottom line is that white people make and keep us tired. They control everything. Everything has to go their way. The dominant society was established on the backs, first of enslaved black people, then of working black people to death, literally working us to death. White folks today continue the legacy of your trashy, racist ancestors by disrespecting our bodies, our minds, our time, cluttering our words with unnecessary nonsense to make living a chore. It is tiring. And our feelings of fatigue are normal and they're righteous. We're in a domestic violence relationship with an abuser who engages in physical, verbal, emotional, sexual, mental, and financial abuse against us every single day. Asians have never faced that. So don't raise up in my face, how come Asians? You know, and it becomes more evident with the bombardment of all things bad about blacks. We've got a target on our backs. There's no regard for black life, no interest by any governance structure in this country to change this position. We're viewed as the nation's insurance policy. Black bodies are seen as nothing more than vessels and tools to save America. But we're unworthy of being saved. We're on fire, and we're being told to help other folks put their fires out first. That you know, black folk house been on fire for 400 years. But oh my God, they're attacking Asians. Go put the Asians' fire out. Put the Native Americans' fire out. Put the immigrants' fire out. Put everybody's fire out while our house remains on fire. And those of us with good common sense, those of us that are grounded in reality, understand we're not wanted. But something feels not right about the time we're living. These times are not right because they ain't right. It's a time where America is trying to take us back, to demoralize us, take us back to a time where they could treat us any kind of way and get away with it. And that's where we're headed with this Supreme Court in place, with the apathy of Democrats who we gave all of the power they need in government, and they want to punk around and talk about, oh, we don't want to mess with the filibuster and all that kind of stuff. We're tired. Do you hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Do you hear me? We are tired. We're tired. Good Lord, we're tired. Oh. All right. 5 minutes before the 10 o'clock. First Lady's already in the back room. So we're going to bring her up. Listen, if you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, 11 o'clock a.m. on Sunday mornings. You can check us out. Check me out this coming Sunday, not only at Spring of Hope, but I'll be hanging out with my good friend, Pastor Anthony Roberson, who is celebrating the anniversary of the Fresh Anointing Ministries Church of God in Christ. Delighted to be invited and to be a part of that celebration. So that service is at 5 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. They're right there on St. James Avenue in Springfield. So if you got time, go on out and support them. I know they're also having my good friend, Bishop Linwood Dillard, the chairman of the International AIM Convention of the Church of God in Christ, who will be with them this Friday evening. So check them out this week as they celebrate their, I believe it's their 10th year anniversary as a church. They've persevered and they've hit a significant milestone. I'm so proud of them and want to celebrate with them. Stay with us. Justice and flow, flowing in justice. Flow, justice, flow, whatever is coming up at 10 o'clock. Listen, those of you who are listening over WTCC in the Pioneer Valley, up in Western Mass, Connecticut, Vermont, wherever you're listening from, as we sign off the air on WTCC, jump on over. Come on over here on social media. Jump on the on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, in the Twitter space, in the Facebook audio space, on the Gram. We're still popping. We're still rolling. So we'll be coming up with Justice and Flow at 10 o'clock. And so until the next time I talk to you, and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you. So do I.
You say you sold out because black women are loud and crass. What? And your precious white woman is the epitome of class? Are you so blind that you cannot see? That pale girl child ain't got nothing on me. For hundreds of years we have stood by your side, accepted your flaws and allowed you your pride, bore your children and cleaned up your mess, satisfied your lust and always settled for less. We have stayed in the background and allowed you to lead, trusting in your strength and ability to succeed, never getting the praise and credit we deserve, but having the courage, the will, and the nerve, for being the backbone that has kept it together, for you and our children in all kinds of weather. And now suddenly you say we're not good enough for you. We forced you to sell out because of the things we do. Well, where was that white woman when that white man you hate was cracking the whip? In the boardroom, the warehouse, and on the slave ship. She stood by his side and didn't say a word, waiting for her own chance to rule and be heard. And now it's her you turn to and treat like a queen, and me and my sisters you choose to demean. Well, hold up, wait a minute, and stop the damn bus. Because there are a few things I need to remind you about us. A more beautiful creature God never made than an African woman, no matter her shade. High, yellow, red bone, or cocoa brown, we are more than worthy of wearing a crown. Ebony, mocha, or black as the night, it is we who have always shared in your plight. We are passionate, spiritual, loving, and kind. A more generous heart you'll never find than the one that beats inside the body of a Nubian queen, the hardest working, loving, giving woman you've ever seen. For we give and forgive until there's little left. Therefore, we put up our guard to avoid your theft, the theft of our hearts and our trust, the very nature of our soul, by our so-called brothers who are just playing a role. And you wonder why some of us act as we do? Take a look in the mirror, because the answer is you. It's not enough that the white man has always tried to keep us down, but our own men act as though they'd love to see us drown. And white women have never invited us to join their equal rights struggle. So we're out here alone with a million things we juggle, raising the children that black men leave behind, and dealing with the racism of the daily corporate grind. Damn, it's no wonder some of us are loud. Hell, we're just trying to be heard. In a world where everyone, including our men, ignore our every word. Where are the brothers who understand a black woman's worth, who will protect and stand by us, for we are the salt of this earth. We birthed you, raised you, and showered you with love. It was we who taught you to love your creator above. We gave you all we had and taught you to be men. Open your eyes, it is us, your black sisters, not Bo Derek's kind who rate a perfect 10. And one final word for the sellout to claim to be brothers. When you turn your back on us, you disrespect your mothers. Did you hear that? This is a response to the sellout.
All right. Response to the sellout. Y'all know who you is. You know who you are. Good morning.
Good morning, babe.
To you and to everybody on the second hour, the Justice and Flow hour. I see cousin Ivory up in here. Jules Howard made me laugh in the middle of Rhonda's poem. That was Rhonda Swan, by the way, my late sister, who was instrumental in the spoken word, the first hour show when we started that. And you can get that, Speaking My Mind in Poetic Verse, anywhere they stream music. Check her out. She's got some good stuff up there, and we're going to be putting some more of her stuff up there as well. But Jules made me laugh because he repeated what I said when I said your trashy racist ancestors. It looked funny when he typed it in there. Oh boy, but hey, that was being nice.
Yeah, you were being nice.
In the scheme of things, that was being nice with what they really were.
It's very interesting because I was watching that whole discourse, I guess that's what we want to call it. And, and of course, you rightfully, responded, and you responded with a lot of passion. And I know that people are not, viewing that as passion. They're viewing it as that angry black man, or whatever. And I mean, I had to check myself a little bit, because I was like, that typical response, that we've been conditioned, to have. Like, let's not be so animated. Let's not be so, let's not be so passionate, because we don't want that to be misread. I finally arrived at the point, and and I'm a little angry with myself that it took me so long. I finally arrived at the point to where it's like I'm unapologetic about the righteous indignation that I have concerning yeah.
And you know what? And here's the deal: if you want to call it anger, I embrace that. I don't care, because the reality. I preached a sermon one time. It said you ought to be angry about some things. Some things ought to make you angry. And so for white folks to try to label us as angry, listen, lynching black folk ought to make you angry. Okay? Extrajudicial murder of unarmed black people ought to make you angry. The disparate treatment of black folk in every facet of American society ought to make you angry. A black college educated person making less than a white person with a high school diploma ought to make you angry. A black woman with a master's degree making less than a white man with a high school diploma ought to make you angry. All the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act ought to make you angry. So I embrace I don't have no problem being the angry black man, if that's what y'all want to call it. I just know the disparity in the terms that they use, because when a white man speaks the way I spoke this morning, he's passionate, he's committed to the cause, but the black man is just so angry. Don't
let's not forget about how angry the black woman supposedly is,
right? The woman as well,
and but also I think we're really on to something when you say we're supposed to be angry, but how we're always denied our
humanity,
right? And
emotions, feelings, being human,
right? Like like we don't have the privilege, right? We don't have the privilege of being angry about what we have to suffer through, so we always, as black people, we always have to suffer in silence. And so when we become woke, right? When we become conscious, and when we become woke, and it does not come out as passive, as soft, as quiet, as reserved, or whatever the case may be, we get all of these derogatory terms attached to us. But we're the only ones that's willing to confront the system. We're the only ones that's willing to expose the unrighteousness that's happening to us. So I don't get it.
But then compare that to a bunch of white folks going to the U.S. Capitol, beating the hell out of cops with flag poles and other weapons, breaking in the building, literally defecating and spreading feces and urine around the building, all of the reprehensible, dastardly, inhumane, subhuman activities and things that they did during that time, that one incident. They got a right to be angry enough to do that, and then they call those folks political prisoners and patriots. But if a black man talks strongly on the radio, he's angry. If he tweets candidly on Twitter, he's angry. But if I got white skin and I break in the Capitol and defecate and beat the hell out of a cop, I'm a patriot.
They patriots. They patriots.
White folks their immoral standards are just, oh my God,
Right.
it's easy to me.
Well, racism is sick. I think it's probably the worst form of illness you can have, if not, one of the, but it's definitely, one of the worst. It's in the top 3. But nevertheless, that's how sick being racist is. That's how sick being racist is. But, we're even denied the privilege, right? And that's how privileged white folks are. They can be angry at any old silly thing, any old petty thing, or whatever the case may be. But black folks can't be angry about nothing without them using it against us to cancel out whatever, message we may be trying to carry. So about justice, about social justice, about equality and equity and inclusion and representation and and all of those things that we rightfully deserve. They get them, and we deserve them. And we deserve them. I tell people all the time that we're not asking for a handout. We're not even demanding a handout. We are demanding what we deserve and what is rightfully ours. Period. Nothing else and nothing more. Nothing else. Nothing more.
When we talk about reparations and things like that, we ain't asking for nothing. We're not asking for nothing that we don't deserve. It's old. It's old.
It's old.
The reparation is a repairing. It's not like we want y'all to give us the hookup or something like that. No.
And it's not just for our enslaved ancestors, but what about our ancestors who and this kind of came to me when this guy was on the phone with you, when he said, "You're successful black family." Well, first of all, our definition of success is different from yours as a white man. That's number one.
Right. But whatever success in his eyes that we attained, we didn't attain that because America was set up for us to be successful. It was attained against the odds, in spite of. And I promise you, if we told our journey to so-called success, it would be much different than his.
Yeah, because see, it's plenty of black people within our community. It's plenty of us who are poor, but we view as extremely successful. So our definitions are completely off because they look at somebody like a Donald Trump as successful, and we don't. He doesn't fall in our category of successful.
You must be Flo.
Yeah.
That must be who Sister Kathy's talking about. You must be Flo. I guess that makes me justice.
So of course, babe. Anyway, you got me completely off. Now I lost my thought. I got that COVID mind. So I lost my thought. Yeah, but I was just saying, I was also saying when it comes to reparations, it's not just what happened to our ancestors, and we are the descendants of, but also we're talking about post-slavery, right? So those our ancestors who went out there and started to build communities, started to build businesses, started to reestablish cities and towns and this, that, and the other. What about those people who were massacred, who land was stolen from them? I know I got grandparents on both sides, right? And great-grandparents on both sides who was tricked out of their land, who was basically still enslaved, after the emancipation in 1865. So all of that, history goes to reparations. And then people are not just thinking, when you consider reparations, People need to just stop thinking about a check being written. Like, that's one way, but that's not the only way. It's thousands of ways, if not millions of ways, that reparations are owed to us, and reparations can be given back to us, those of us who are descendants of slaves or Black people here in this country. Again, that we rightfully deserve. You give it to every other group, and have given it to every other group, have been categorized and, and certainly labeled as, those deserving of reparations. But the only group that, that truly, truly, truly deserve it, or whatever, we keep getting denied. I mean, we can't even get a voting rights bill. We can't even get an anti-lynching bill. We can't even get a George Floyd police reform bill. We can't, I mean, like, what the, like, what's going on? I don't get it.
And see,
Like,
that once again, that is indicative of when he tried to compare Black folk to Asian so-called success. And my point was, Asians have never faced in this nation what Black folks have faced in this nation. And then B,
no other group has ever faced in this.
Exactly, no other group.
No other group.
But then B, they don't hold the same level of vitriol against the Asian community. Now they're hateful to every non-white community, but they don't hold the same level of vitriol against the Asian community that they hold against Black people. And Asians have never faced what we have ever faced. So this whole notion of trying to compare Black folks to other groups when other groups have not experienced what we have experienced.
Well, not only that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this little turn, shift a little bit, stand in that vein. Also, you're right. White folks don't have the same level of disdain, for Black folks that these other communities that they do for these other communities. But these other communities have the same level of disdain sometimes for us. Let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it 100. It's a lot of Black hatred from the Asian community. It's a lot of Black hatred from the Latinx community. It's a lot of Black hatred, from every other community, not just white. Not just white, because a lot of other communities, they think they white also. So, they want to be everything other than Black. Every other community want to be everything other than Black. And I say this all the time, that every other community is very comfortable keeping Black folks on the
not all the time. Sometimes they want to be Black when it comes to our talent and our fashion and all of those other things. Everybody want to be Black until it's time to be Black. They
want to be Black when it comes to our culture and our style.
Right.
They don't want to be Black when it comes to our humanity. They don't want to be Black when it comes to
our persecution or our oppression. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Bishop Swan and First Lady Swan. I'm glad y'all talking about this topic. I'm angry because what I see on the news, we not even treated fair. You got this, I'm sorry, I got myself. You got this white woman that is missing. Don't you know what? It's been on every news thing, every single day. But you know what? You let it be a Black woman been missing like this. I heard that they found her body yesterday. I can't think of her name. But you know what? Do the Black woman get the same publicity about being missing?
No.
Basically, they're saying, we don't give a D about the Black. But you let it be a white woman, is a whole different ballgame.
I hear you, caller. I hear your passion. I dealt with a whole situation some years ago when we had literally dozens of unsolved cases of murdered or missing Black women in this area. And while they were propping up Lisa Ziegert's disappearance on national news and all of that. They were completely ignoring what had happened to these black women. And we had to literally go on a campaign to get the police to reopen cases. And we wound up getting 4 of those murders solved with the help of the brothers from the Nation of Islam here and others who gave them leads. They found a serial killer and all of that. But if we hadn't put pressure on them to reopen those cases, they wouldn't have cared because it's black life.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you know, not only is it black life, it's the black female life.
Yeah, it's the double issue of being black and female at the same time. I'm gonna bring up Dr. Herbert Harris on the Twitter space. Sister Kath, notice you said morning to flow. What happened to morning to justice?
Okay,
ain't no justice to flow without justice. Dr. Harris, good morning.
Good morning, Bishop. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great, great. Did you receive my book, Solving the Race Issue in America?
I did. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Thank you. Well, your topic today is so hot because the spiritual implications of what is happening. You know, in other words, you know, the Bible says that when there's been a transgression against somebody, you have to first acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that white people know how deep this systemic racism is. It's almost on the subconscious level. You know, one of the things we learned from this whole Trump era is that you can tell a lie and people will believe it. And so we have this systemic racism on such a fundamental level that most white people don't even think they're racist. But when you look at what you were sharing about the solving murders of black women, this has happened all around the country in our area, in New York, that there's a subconscious almost diminishing of black people. It's like they just don't want to acknowledge our humanity. And one of the reasons is a spiritual reason, and is if you acknowledge my humanity and you look at what you have done to me as a human being, then you acknowledge it, then in order for you to clear up yourself spiritually, you have to ask forgiveness and make atonement. Mm-hmm. And it's always about the money. You know, the bus boycott in Alabama worked not because the white people there got morally correct, it's because they were losing money. And even with the young lady who was denied tenure down in North Carolina, the benefactor who was really spearheading that denial, in an email he came out, he was saying basically that if we acknowledge this stuff, that sooner or later we're going to have to pay reparations. And so it's always broken down to a monetary problem. The challenge, though, is America will never rise to its greatness as long as it bears this sin of slavery and this cancer of systemic racism. So the country is like a ship with an anchor in the water. The ship can't go anywhere but go round and round in circles, and we see it happening now. The same thing that happened in 1898 in North Carolina, the only coup that's ever taken place, which it ushered in the Jim Crow and all the voting restrictions throughout the South. After 1898 in Wilmington, North Carolina, there was never another black person in Congress for 92 years. Mm-hmm. And we see the same thing happening now with Republican legislatures around the state. And the reason they don't want you to learn what they call critical race theory, even the terminology is misleading. It's not a theory. We're talking facts. What was done to black people was facts, history, facts. But they want to call it theory so that they can deny its existence. Therefore, they don't have to acknowledge what they deny exists. Mm-hmm. Therefore, they don't have to ask forgiveness. And the bottom line is they're afraid it's going to cost them some money. Money is the heart of America. Money, power, and prejudice.
Always intriguing to hear from you, Dr. Harris. Appreciate so much your input this morning, and I'm looking forward and I've been getting your messages you've been sending me on IG, and I'm looking forward to reading your book.
But thank you so much, Bishop. This book, Solving Race Issue in America Now, is being picked up. I'm looking at a profile of our buyers now. And so many white people are buying it, young white people, and that's the fear that they have. That when their young people see the truth, they are not as totally indoctrinated as the older people. And when young white people see the truth, it's like the civil rights era. When the Freedom Riders started in the South, when black kids did it by themselves, they burned the bus up. But when white kids started riding down, they had to pay attention. So things have not changed. Spiritually, America must be transformed, or it will suffer the burning pit. Thank you, Bishop.
All
Thanks
right.
for what you do.
Appreciate you. Wow.
He just brought up a couple of things that just came to mind for me. And Sister Stephanie just reminded me of something, that hit home run for me. Therapist, anger is often a significant symptom in relationship to evident trauma, and so when society puts pressure on us not to express our anger, they're also telling us not to express our trauma, or not to tell our trauma, or not to expose our trauma, or whatever the case may be. And so I think that that's really important. I thought about how when I experienced a great disappointment in my life. And for a long time, I was waiting. I was waiting for the person who inflicted this pain upon me, right? Who traumatized me. I was waiting for this person to come to me and acknowledge it, in some way, or apologize, in some way. And it never happened. And so what I realized was that because I was waiting on it, and looking for it, and I was angry and becoming bitter and frustrated because, I knew that I had been done wrong, and I wanted this person to come to the realization of what they did to me, and I wanted them to come and apologize to me. I wanted them to come and acknowledge what they did to me, so that we could kind of work it out, forgive each other, and move on, or whatever the case may be. So, but I ended up, because that person never came to me, never acknowledged what they did, never acknowledged how they traumatized me, never acknowledged the wrong that they did against me. I ended up going through a much longer process of forgiveness. And the forgiveness was for me so that I could go on, not necessarily for them. And that's what people need to understand about forgiveness. And that's what they want us to do as Black people. They want us to dismiss the process and just jump right to forgiveness and get over it. And,
2 days after you kill my
right.
2 days after you kill my mama, you want to stick a microphone in front of my face,
right?
Ask me, do I forgive her murderer? Hell no. I ain't got to that point yet.
Right. Not to be angry about what happened to my mama, not to be angry about what you did to my mama, not to be angry about how it impacts the whole family, how it impacts me. Mama's not here anymore, and this and they don't want to hear it. They don't want you to talk about it, and this and they just want you to get over it and acknowledge forgiveness, because you can't be angry about them killing your mama.
Those are the 3 words that they use with the Black community so often. Get over it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, how you doing, Bishop? How you doing, Bishop?
This is Mississippi. This is Mississippi. How you doing?
Is that Mississippi? Oh, I haven't heard from him in a long time.
Yeah, I've been working. I've been working hard. We got this COVID going on bad down here.
Oh, okay.
Y'all be in prayer. We lead the nation now. We got an ignorant governor down there.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
You know, they trying to even the people going to the school board meeting trying to, you know, instead of masks on, we need to even be worn for the kids and stuff. We're in a bad situation.
Oh, wow.
So down here it's spreading like I don't know what. But you know, I like what you and Sister Swan said. You know, forgiveness ain't no third thing. Forgiveness ain't no overnight process.
Thank you.
Everyone, nobody trying to confess that the wrong that they done did, that they done perpetrated on you. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people use forgiveness to use forgiveness as a way to exploit us even more and more and more.
And it's
right.
It's also exploiting Black Christians based on a whitenized Christianity that was taught to them, that you'll be as bad as they are if you don't immediately forgive. And you know they say there's about anywhere between 5 to 8 steps of grief, and the part where it comes to feeling the anger and the pain is only step number 2. In that. So they want us to get straight to forgiveness and not go through any of the human steps of processing the trauma and pain of what was done to us, so that they could absolve themselves of their own guilt. And then what happens is when Black folk fall into that and they start announcing publicly their forgiveness, it impacts the courts. It impacts justice, because then you have white jurors. You have white jurors and everybody saying, "Oh well, the family forgave them, so we don't have to be that harsh, you know, on the person who murdered, you know, their loved one." It's crazy. No, don't get out. And when you, if and when you get to a point of forgiveness, you don't have to have a press conference and announce that to nobody.
You know what? Hey, when they, I'm gonna tell you what happened. When you know when white people get killed, they can't they can blame closure.
They say never forget. That's what they say. They don't say forgive. They say never forget.
Never forget. Never forget.
And they feel better when they put that poison in your arm. If you done did some people wrong, that's when they say I can bring closure to it. When you get yourself on it.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Bishop, and I'm gonna listen to you, man. It's always to hear you and your wife, y'all make good team, man. I wish I could get out of Mississippi, but it got so bad to him, man. It can't hardly do nothing.
All right. Appreciate you so much.
Praying. Oh, man.
Yes, sir. That's our friend from Mississippi.
I'm angry about COVID too.
Right.
I mean, we can't name nothing that Black folks ain't angry about. I can't speak for no other group, but
they try to blame us for that too.
Yeah, they trying to, and like I said, I'm very angry. I'm very angry and upset about what's going on, with COVID. I thought about the other day. I don't want to switch conversations. I think we should stay on this one. But I thought about the other day how the stats are still kind of low as far as Black and brown people getting vaccinated in Springfield, and and I know again, they're using it as the reason to blame us about the spike with COVID as well in Springfield. But at the same time, I couldn't help but to think, well, if historically you have been proven, to the Black and brown communities, but particularly to the Black community, to where we could trust you, I don't think we would be having these kinds of issues right now with the vaccine and with other methods, that's being used to, help alleviate us from this pandemic, or whatever the case may be. So the fact of the matter is, I blame you because historically you've proven yourself untrustworthy, to the community. So why should they all of a sudden, trust and believe you now?
Absolutely. Coach Anthony, you're in the Twitter space. How you doing? Good. You?
Just good. Just first of all, I've been following you for some time, and I've been a minister now for over 20 years. Church of God in Christ Jesus, Durham, North Carolina.
Oh my!
And so I coach at Barton College. I'm a college basketball coach. I'm also a avid historian about the African diaspora, and I just wanted to say that I probably read over 70 books about our plight as Black people. And the first thing we have to do is that we need to reject the status that they have put on Black people.
Of course.
Based on our status that they have put on Black people, we are oppressed based on that status that they have placed on us. We didn't place the status on us, they placed it on us. Mm-hmm. So the first thing we have to do, we have to reject that status of Black people, that we are beneath or we are inferior to other people. We have to reject it fully as a group. And any laws, any policies that they put in order that causes us oppression and things of that nature, we have to make sure that we reject those things as a group. And I think that too many of us have accepted those things. And I hear people saying, "What are the solutions? What are the solutions?" Mm-hmm. We have to make sure that we reject those things that they put on us. And we need more people out here fighting. We need more people out here standing up for one another. A lot of times when, just like Bishop, a lot of people out here, I see it, they try to pull him down. He's echoing the things that Martin Luther King has said. He's echoing the things that Malcolm X has said, and so many other leaders back in history that have said the same thing. And, it's time for us as a people to finally get over this hump of racism. We gotta defeat it. We gotta bury it. We gotta destroy it. Because if we don't, our children and our children's children will continue to be oppressed. They will continue to get shot down in the streets. It's time for us. We're intelligent. We have people who achieve great amounts of education. It's time for us to go ahead and step it up. And we can't wait for the white people to do it. We can't wait for America or Europe to do it. We're going to have to do it ourselves. And we're going to suffer some losses. We'll suffer some losses, but we have to defeat this systemic racism, and we have to be the people that God created us to be. And it's not going to look nice. It's not going to be pretty, but we're going to have to do it because we're at the point now where we can, but society wants to present it to us that we can't. I'm sorry, Bishop. I just get kind of.
No.
I think you just did something.
No, don't be sorry. I feel your passion. Yeah. You want to comment on what he said?
No, I didn't want to comment back, but I think he just did something for me. So, in thinking about the show today, I have wrote down a hot topic question, that I wanted to pose, and he just brought it up, inadvertently brought it up. So, I just kind of want to stay in that vein. So the question was, how can we truly be woke without God? So he started out, he prefaced his statements by saying that he was a minister and that he was, born and bred, I believe it's Church of God in Christ, he said. And he also said that he was a coach and he had read over 70 books, about, the status of Black people and how we need to reject, these sentiments and, of course, narrative about us. But that's my question. So, how can we truly be woke without God? You know, because I hear a lot of black men and women out there singing that they have this black consciousness and that they are woke. And I'm just curious because I know that my journey to being woke, I'm awakening. You know, I'm not sure if I'm completely woke yet. I think it's too massive.
Is that a question? Is that a question for me, or is that a?
Well, it's a question overall. It's it's a conversation that I'm trying to have. You know, how can we truly be woke without God? So yeah.
We'll give you the first. We'll give you the first stab at answering it, though.
Okay. The first thing we have to do as a church is that we have to teach about the black presence in the Bible. Many churches, we are still preaching the same slave doctrine, the same white supremacist doctrine. We're giving that, we're reverberating that to our congregation.
That's right.
Until we explain biblically to our people about the historical and factual, just the factual and historical aspects of the Bible. When we explain that stuff in the foundation of Bible study and the church, then our church will start to become more what's so-called woke. And we will also grow an appreciation for who Christ really was, because the truth will set you free. And if we explain who he was in a more, especially his historical aspect of him, because he was a historical person, and so therefore we have to explain the blackness in the Bible, and we have to be very adamant about it because of the type of society and propaganda that goes on in the church, and we have to also put the pressure on white pastors to acknowledge that they have spiritually whitewashed what the Hebrew Bible really was. They have to acknowledge that. Take down the stained glass pictures of the white blue-eyed Jesus. You're gonna have to, because now people are woke, and a lot of times black people won't come to Christ because we're giving them the same thing, the same oppressive religion that the ancestors were oppressed by. So it has to start. The church is the leader in movement, especially with our people. And so we need to lead the way in making sure that we explain biblically why the Bible is actually an African faith system. I mean, you read the Old Testament.
That's right.
We need to explain that and allow our minister to be efficient in that knowledge. I appreciate your answer and your commentary, and I suggest William Watley. It's an older book, but they have out one that's called The African American Presence in the Bible, with a number of scholars, and as Coach Anthony said, I'd get to know that and teach that profusely in our churches to kind of debunk, because when they come back and they say, oh, it's a white man's religion, I'm like, well, number one, Christianity was birthed in the heart of Africa, spread
in Africa before slavery.
Ethiopia. The oldest Christian presence is in Ethiopia. Christ was a black man born and raised in Northeast Africa. How can I follow the teachings of a black African and be in a white man's religion unless I subscribe to the whitenized version of Christianity as taught in America? Coach, what school do you coach at once again before I let you go? Okay, he might have jumped off already.
I thought he said
I coach at Barton College.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in Wilson, North Carolina. If you look at my Twitter, I have a lot of stuff up, about Barton College and things of that nature. I actually played there, but I'm currently finishing my psychology degree at North Carolina Central University.
Okay, well, I just followed you. It's pending, so accept it. All right. I want to take care of it. All right.
Yes, sir. And God bless you all.
All right. Thank you so much. Good stuff.
Yeah, I loved his answer, and I mean, I just thought it was on point. I thought it was poignant, and like I said, that was the question that I had for today's topic and for today's show. So I'm concerned. I said this to you that I don't understand how we got so many woke people, for instance, in our city, in the city of Springfield, but I don't see them connecting, necessarily to the ministry. So it's like, how are you woke and without God, or connecting to ministries, or whatever. So maybe it got more to do with how they view that particular ministry or church or, religious institution.
Well, the reality is this is we've had people leave our church because Bishop Swan is too political, he's too radical.
Political, yeah, that was his
and these are black people that are basically saying, I just want to come to church and have my fancy tickled. I want to hear something that sounds good, that gives me some hope and inspiration. It gives me a momentary high, and that's the problem. Is folk want to use church. That's the reason why Karl Marx said religion is the opiate of the people, because people use it as a temporary narcotic to numb the pains that they're going through in life, the concerns, to give them a temporary high, a temporary feel good, but they don't really want to deal with somebody who's trying to give them practical applications that make your life better, that can actually empower you, and most of all, challenge you. They don't want that. So, oh no, that's too much. I can't be under that kind of ministry. And it's amazing to me, because when folk get in trouble with real life, when their kid is being abused in school, or they're being discriminated against on the job, or the police go upside their head, and they're dealing with real life stuff, they make a beeline to come by Spring of Hope to seek help from Brother Swan. But Sunday to Sunday, they want to go get popcorn ministry that tickles their fancy. I'm just saying.
Well, I guess that's a way of looking at it. But I personally, especially when I think about my journey to being awakened, and like I said, I don't think I'm totally woke yet. It's too much that I don't know, that I'm still finding out. But with that being said, it was because of my relationship with God, the mysteries of God, and learning more of God, getting closer to God, developing in my own relationship with God. And then, of course, like the coach said, like Coach Anthony said, referred to being under a ministry that spoke to not just the literal parts of the Bible, but spoke to the word historically, expounded upon the word historically, from a historical perspective, from a social perspective, from a righteous perspective, dispensational, experiential, bringing the word, to life, as far as like, the day and time that we are living in, and connecting the history of the Bible to today, so all of that went into me coming out of, or seeing that that there's been a conscious intentional, fully resourced effort to whitenize our faith and to distract us and to get us completely off course in understanding who we are, and that we are the creators, of developing, a Christian religion and so on and so forth. I mean, just so much. It's just so massive. And but basically what I'm trying to say is, babe, it was the God in me and my knowledge and thirst for God that woke me up to embrace my Blackness unapologetically and unashamedly, my faith as well, so. Mm-hmm.
But it's real in the sense that to a great extent, if we talk about being woke, that means that it's talking about being awakened from a slumber,
right.
a sleep, being lulled to sleep. Religion has been a major factor in lulling Black folk to sleep in terms of a number of in terms of fighting for ourselves because of the whole turn the cheek, let God fight your battles, and I say let God fight your battles and all of that. But we kind of take it in a literal sense. That means we shouldn't fight for ourselves. We shouldn't defend ourselves. That's not what the Bible. That's not what the Bible says. Depending on God and not fighting for yourself are two different things. But religion has been used in a way to make Black folks docile and passive, to make them feel like they can't be human and feel anger and have to jump immediately to forgiveness. It makes them feel like they can't be righteously indignant about the things that happen to us in this nation because of white supremacy. Then they have to have this all lives matter mentality. And what I mean by that is when people like you and I say Jesus was Black, Israel was in Northeast Africa and things like that, they're like, what difference does it make what color God is, what color Jesus was? That really doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, they would have never changed.
Why you offended? That's true. And why you offended? Because I brought up the fact that he's Black.
How are you Black being offended at us telling the truth about the Black presence, as Coach Anthony said, about the Black presence in the Bible? The reality is this, and I know folk don't like me saying this, the only white folks in the Bible were the Roman oppressors, were white supremacist oppressors from Italy. That's it. Everybody else was Black. All the other heroes, all the other prophets, and all the stuff that people that y'all worship and preach about were Black folk. Okay? The ones who hung Jesus, the ones who lynched Jesus, those were the white folks. I mean, that's the reality of what it is. But even Black people get offended when you say these things. And it's hard to believe that in 2021, Black folk are still hanging up white Jesus.
We got some really good comments, babe, that I want to read real quick. Certainly, two people are members of our church, so we must be doing something right. So the first is from Sister Kathy. She said, people don't like me saying this if their goats are gotten. But if God is leading them to act in ways that are antithetical to the word, then they are not worshiping God. The God of the word would not lead them to follow their hatred and bigotry, this point of view. The word also clearly says to hold up every lofty thought and cast out that which does not line up with his word. Corinthians 10 and 4-5. I believe she said. And then Sister Stephanie said, one must go through the phases of spiritual recovery. They can't be tickled pink and healed in a natural journey towards change. Relapse is part of the human course. The truth will set you free. I say that all the time. It's a simple statement. It's a simple scripture that's in the word, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. We tell our kids all the time, all the time. I don't care what it is. You won't be free until you face the truth or until you tell the truth. I don't care if it's big, little, small, indifferent, whatever the case is, it's the truth that delivers you. It's the truth that sets you free. And so what America is unwilling to do is face the truth, deal with the truth, and tell the truth. So Chris said this, my coworker loves to tell me, we as black folks gonna get our glory on the other side. Chris, I got that for years too. And he said, I want my glory now. You know, the way that I say it, Chris, I say, I don't want to wait to go to heaven. God is so big and he's so powerful, and he's the champion of our spiritualness and our souls, that he can give us heaven on earth. We don't have to wait, for heaven. We can have some heaven right here on earth, and we deserve it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like when I always say, black folks who ascribe to this whitenized Christianity always want to talk about heaven after they die. They want the pie in the sky, but I want some steak by the lake. While I'm here right now, y'all can get the pie in the sky after you die. I want some steak by the lake, while I'm here right now.
Right. Why we gotta be in hell the whole time that we here in life? I mean, God gave us life, and then not only did he give us life, he gave us a second chance at eternal life while in this life. So that means that we can have heaven right here on earth. We don't have to wait until this body is dead and gone, to experience heaven. We can have heaven right here on earth.
Absolutely. In the kitchen.
You a mess. You a mess, babe.
Only certain people will understand what that means.
Anyway, y'all don't pay no attention to y'all bishop. But babe, before we leave the show today, thank you everybody for listening in. I know that I'm not as exciting as Bishop is. He's actually my favorite talk show host. He's my favorite preacher. I just love him, and I thank God for him. I thank God. Okay.
We're gonna be in the kitchen.
I know what I'm doing. Look at Whitney. Whitney said, ew.
The kids are supposed to say that.
But I wanted to, if I may, wrap up the show today. By re-announcing the announcement that we were privileged to make on our show last week. Because listen, we got to remember how important our city election is for this year. I can't help but to continue to thank you, Bishop, for your sacrifice, the sacrifice that you made to be one of the plaintiffs on the ward representation lawsuit towards the city of Springfield. And it was a long, hard fought battle, but we have had ward representation for, I believe it's 11 years now, going on 12 years, 11 years now. And so we are starting to see the city council and the school committee reflect all of that hard work and righteousness of ward representation being brought here to the city of Springfield. So this year is historic because the Divine Community, which is a community of Black involved community members, they have developed the first ever Black slate of candidates that they are endorsing and that they are supporting. So I wanted to mention all of those candidates. I want to call all of their names once again on every show up until the election. We plan on doing this. So I wanted to end the show today by reminding the people that we are supporting, that the Divine Community is supporting and endorsing the following candidates. The first candidates are for city council. They're running for city council, and that would be Justin Hurst. He's running at large. Tracy Whitfield, she's running at large. Then we have Janae McDonald. She's running in Ward 4. Then we have Leslie Campbell. He's running in Ward 3. And then we have Zeta Govan. She's running here where we live, babe, in Ward 8. And then we also have the following members who are running for school committee. It is extremely critical that we support and we vote for these individuals, all of them. But school committee members would be Denise Hurst, the wife of Justin Hurst. They are certainly a power couple right here in our city of Springfield, in our great city of Springfield. Latonia Monroe Naylor, she's been a force to reckon with on the school committee. She's been amazing. We love her work and we want to continue to be behind her. And then we want to make sure we bring on Ayanna Crawford. She's running in District 4. That's Wards 2 and 8. She's been a longstanding educator and a very involved community member. She deserves to get that seat. So we're asking for everybody to vote for these candidates that are running for both city council and school committee right here in the great city of Springfield, Massachusetts.
All right. All politics are local. So no matter what you talk about nationally, I know a lot of our listeners, come from across the nation, and they're interested in our conversations about things happening nationwide. But we're talking specifically to those of you locally here where we live, in the field. All politics are local. These politicians affect what happens in your local lives, quality of life issues that affect you every single day. I want to thank everybody on the Justice and Flow side, those on all forms of social media. I appreciate you so much. I wish I could get more of you in the Twitter space. We had several other requests that we're trying to get up to talk in Twitter space. But listen, every Monday we'll be back here. So you come on and join us, and we'll definitely want to get more of you up in here. And we're growing our audience in the Facebook rooms. So they're coming along with us as well. And then of course those of you on the gram, somebody on the gram is teasing us, talking about the kitchen. Yeah. A couple things happen in the kitchen.
About no kitchen.
The kitchen I'm talking about after the show, that's to get some food. I'm hungry. I ain't eating no breakfast. So that's why I want to go to the kitchen.
You don't know nothing about no kitchen after 30 years of marriage, baby. You don't know nothing about this kitchen.
Now the kitchen after hours is something different. Anyway, listen, we'll check you guys out next week, the Lord willing. Once again, the spoken word starts at 10 o'clock a.m. and we simulcast live over WTCC radio. And then we come up at the top of the hour at 11 o'clock with Justice and Flow. So until the next time.
Oh, I forgot to say something, babe. I forgot to say something.
My flow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what Flo do. She interrupts. But anyway, I forgot to say happy belated Founders Day to two of my favorite frats, you and our son, Lizine. So happy belated Founders Day to the Iota Phi Thetas. You know, I've been an Iota wife for 30 years. Love y'all.
Well, we appreciate that. But you're more than an Iota wife and mother. You're an Iota sister as well, because you remember my brothers, Fred.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of y'all.
And John and cousin David, they're all Iotas as well.
I forgot.
All the Iota Swans, all of the brown and gold brothers across the nation.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends. Love y'all.
All right, now until the next time we talk to you and you talk to us, always remember, God loves you, and so do we. We're out. Deuces. Check y'all out later.